guys, welcome back to So That's Gaming. I'm Laramus and this is another PS3 video. If you click this video, it's because you're interested in knowing how you can upgrade your hard drive in your PlayStation 3 that it currently has custom firmware installed. This is the PS3 that I made a video on that showed you how to install the Rebug custom firmware in a previous video. I want to apologize for that video, and if you haven't seen it, please don't bother. You can just come back and watch this one, because what we're going to do, depending on your model of PlayStation 3, this process will be a little bit different. And what I mean by that is I know that this process of upgrading the hard drive will pertain to the NOR memory type PlayStation 3s. I'm not entirely sure that the NAND version of the PlayStation 3, the original Phat PS3s, will apply because with the NORs, the flash on them was only 16 megabytes, whereas the NAND flash is 128 megabytes, please. So that means on the NOR systems, which is all of these slims, install the system onto the hard drive. So during this process, what's going to happen is it's going to go ahead and basically make it like brand new right out of the box. You'll have to initialize the hard drive, and one of the first links in the descriptions is a link to the current, at the time of this recording, firmware from PlayStation's website, 4.82. In case that changes, if you're watching this and there's a newer firmware update, use the link below, and that way you be sure you get version 4.82. So you'll need to have that on a flash drive in the directory PS3/update. It needs to be in that folder. So when you install the hard drive, you're going to have to re-flash the entire system with the official firmware, and then from there we have to go ahead and re-flash custom firmware. Now, for those of you who have trophies, save games, and everything else you want to back up, all that stuff is all in the system menu under backup settings in here somewhere. Where are we at? System settings, and there should be a backup somewhere around here somewhere. Backup utility. Now, note that this will, and it will tell you this as well, so this is like reminding you that this will not back up your trophies if you care about trophies. You have to make sure that, I think you go over to game data utility. I don't remember exactly where. It's been a long time. I don't really care about the trophies, big whoop, but you'll go to one of those utilities and you will, actually I think it's under, there it is, trophy collection. The PSN PlayStation Network menu. You'll do your trophy collection to sync your trophies with your PSN account. Whether or not that's safe to do with custom firmware, I don't know. It doesn't really affect me because I'm not interested. But yeah, so if you have data and save games you want to back up, be sure you back those up first, and make sure your external hard drive that you hook up to it has enough free room on it that everything that you have on your PlayStation 3 will be backed up to that you will need. So, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and open up the PlayStation 3. In this case, I'm going to be doing it on the Slim. I won't be able to help you guys on the Phats, NAND, or NOR. And we're going to go over a couple things, and I'll show you that process. Pretty simple, straightforward. You probably don't really need to watch. So, stay tuned. We're going to go right over there to that and install the new hard drive. Alright, so here we are. I moved to a different location here. Here's our PlayStation 3. This is a relatively simple process of doing this. You're going to flip it over and you'll see, I'm missing a couple of these little rubber feet, but that's okay. We have this little panel right here. We're just going to flip that up and it's going to reveal a blue screw. And we're just going to remove that. Now, there are certain things you have to pay attention to when ordering a replacement hard drive. People have found success. Alright, so after you remove the screw, this will slide over and and then you'll be able to pull it out. And there's this little cage right here, little handle will flip up, and you just pull it out. There you go. It's that simple. So we're just going to put this up to the side for the time being. Now, as I was saying, there are certain requirements for an external hard drive. Alright, first of all, here is my original PlayStation 3 hard drive. It has an approximate width or height of 9.5 millimeters. This is the maximum thickness that a laptop drive can be. So a lot of your early 750, 800, 920, and 1 terabyte drives were thicker than that. They're about 10 or even 11 millimeters thick because the technology was new and everything, so they were just a little bit bigger. So we got these 4 screws we got to remove. Now I'll show you what I'm talking about as soon as I get this hard drive out. This hard drive is a 320. I just had one laying around. And you can see right here, there's a little bit of room right here because the original hard drive took up that entire space. I'll show you. Here you are. This is the original, and it just barely fits in there. You can fit your fingernail underneath there. That's about it. And so a lot of people are saying, oh, you can just cut this up or get rid of this little rack and you can get a larger hard drive to fit, but I preferred not to do that. So the original hard drive is 9.5 millimeters. So try to get one that's thinner, the same as that or thinner. Some people have had luck with drives as large as 1.5 terabyte. I decided not to try to get one that big. I'm using a Seagate FireCuda 1 terabyte drive that is 7 millimeters thick, I believe. Let's see. I believe this is 7 millimeter. So I know it's going to fit no problem in the PlayStation. So just reverse the installation process by installing it, making sure that your SATA connector is facing away from your little handle here, and you shouldn't have any problems. Set that down carefully as to not push the drive down to the counter here, like that, which I just did. So let me go and hold it here. Oops. So I decided to get a 1 terabyte because, well, I knew that I should have no problem using a 1 terabyte drive for this. I haven't heard of any particular brands that are better than others. The original drive that was in there was a Hitachi, which, if I remember correctly, Seagate actually owns Hitachi branded drives. I think maybe that's Toshiba. I might have that mixed up. But a lot of people have chose to use Western Digital, but brand is, I guess, is your preference. As far as I know, this shouldn't really matter what brand you use. I haven't read anything otherwise. You can probably do some further research and discover that for yourself. Just about down here, 1 screw left. And there we are. Pretty simple, straightforward. 1 terabyte FireCuda 2.5-inch laptop drive. Now, so I opted for this because it's supposed to be I think I read that it's got some like flash memory built into it, so it should access things quicker. And so here we are. Now we're back here, grid facing upwards. This tab right here will line up with the screw hole on our PlayStation 3. Just slide that in and put a little handle down here, put a cover back in place, and that's pretty much it. So all I have to do now is put the screw back in our system, and we're going to power it on. After I download, or I put that PS3 updat.pup file from the first link in the description, that's the official PlayStation 3 firmware, on my flash drive, and we're powered up, and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so here we are. Got our PlayStation hooked up. I have the USB drive with the original official custom firmware from PlayStation, version 4.82, on my flash drive, and it's inserted in the rightmost slot. Now, I got my controller hooked up with the USB cable to the PlayStation on slot 1, just in case. I think it asks you for that anyway, so let's go and power on our PlayStation here. And that's obviously not going to boot because, like I said, on the NOR system, the system is installed on the hard drive. Alright, so connect the cable using the USB cable and then press the PlayStation button. Done. Alright, the system cannot run correctly. Press the PlayStation button to try and restart the system, but we're not going to do that. If the system cannot be restarted, the system partition of the system storage must be reformatted and you must reinstall the system software. Connect the storage media that contains the update data, version 4.82 or later, and then press start and select buttons at the same time. So, since we know there's no system on this drive, we know we're going to have to hit start and select. So, start and select, it's checking. Alright, the system partition of the system storage will be formatted. During the format operation, all data in the system storage may be deleted. To format, press and hold the start and select buttons at the same time for at least 5 seconds. Here we go. Start, select, and 5. There we go. So now it's going to format the system. Alright, now we're formatting. This could take a few moments, so I might go ahead and fast forward or skip to the end of this process. Alright, we've reached 100%, so the next step, the system's going to go ahead and restart. And it's going to start the system installation from our USB drive. Alright. Checking for the update data. Now, a portion of the system remains on my NOR chipset. That's how it knows that it needs 4.82 or later. Just in case you're curious about that. So if you hadn't updated to 4.82, it'll ask you for a different system on your flash drive. Let's say if you're on 4.20, if there was such a system, it'll ask you for a USB device with an update data of 4.2 or later. So, okay. Alright, now we're reinstalling the system from our flash drive. And this will take a few minutes, so we'll let it do its thing. And alright, system's done installing 100%. So now it's going to reboot. Alright, so chances are if you've never bought your system brand new, you've never seen any of this before. This is what you'll see if you took your PlayStation freshly out of the box, right from the factory. Alright, blah blah blah, connect, we're going to hit the PlayStation button, and we speak English here in the United States. Yes, we're going to use the HDMI. Yes. It's going to save that setting. I can read it. Yay! Okay, I am Central Time. And today's date is Friday, March 9th. 2018, and it is 10:10 a.m. You have to rename everything, obviously. That's alright. Alright, next. And we're done. It's going to save our settings. Been disconnected and blah blah blah. And I already have mine hooked up to my wired internet. So it's going to detect it and save all those settings, blah blah blah. So after that, your usual warning. And here you are. If you notice, it says PS3. It no longer has my Rebug firmware installed on it. We're going to do that next. Let's go ahead over to settings. Oops, I went past system settings. Let's see, where is system information? 931 gigs. Let's my 1 terabyte drive is in fact working. So, next step, we're going to take our flash drive out. We're going to delete the PS3 updat pup, and we're going to put the minimum version tool, check tool. If you didn't watch my previous video. So we're going to go through all the steps of installing custom firmware. This time, I promise it's going to be so much easier. So let's go ahead. From the next link in the description is the minimum version check tool. You're going to put that file at the same spot you put the original PlayStation 3 update. So let me get that. I'll be right back. Alright, got my flash drive. I'm going to plug that back in. And that should pop up my USB device. Just a quick overview before we go ahead and do this. Keep in mind that if you have a PlayStation Phat, you check the link in the description. There will be a link to detect what kind of memory you have, a NOR or NAND type flash. This is important for our later step. Now, all the Phats and most of the Slims are supported for these custom firmware. None of the Super Slim are supported. Now, I put the minimum version check tool, which is a PS3 updat.pup file. It's in the PS3 update folder. So we're going to choose update via storage media. It's going to scan our flash drive and it's going to detect our version check. This next step is very important. It's going to go ahead and run, and it's going to show that my PS3 shipped from the factory with version 3.20. That means it's good. If your version is 3.5, it needs to be 3.56 or lower. If it's above 3.56, I'm sorry, this PS3 firmware, custom firmware and exploit will not work for you at this time. So ours is good. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to, from the custom firmware link in my description, you'll download that and rename that to PS3 updat.pup and put it on your flash drive in the update folder. And I'm going to also include a couple more links for MultiMan and for the Rebug Toolkit, which you will either put in the root of your flash drive or in a packages folder on your flash drive. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and I'm going to go grab those files. I'll be right back. Alright, now I'm back with the flash drive with the custom firmware tool installed. In my previous video I mentioned that you had to download some other stuff, but we're not going to be using that in this video because there's now a new and easier way, which I kind of try to show you. So first thing we're going to do, open up our internet browser. Excuse me. And hit triangle, go up to tools, we're on the home page, and select use blank page. Okay. Now we're going to go and hit the circle button and choose to close the browser. This will flush it back out of memory. We're going to relaunch the internet browser. Now we have a blank page, so we're going to hit start. And we're going to navigate to HTTP PS3 exploit. Oops. .com /writer / now I mentioned before, depending on what kind of memory system you have, if you're on the Phat, you go to one of these two, either NOR or here, index underscore. You go to either NOR or NAND, N-A-N-D. In my case, I have to go to NOR, NOR, and go to underscore H. Oops. There we go. Underscore. If it stops typing, just hit the R1 button and it'll like continue. So you'll see the little mini underscore there. it can only hold so much memory or characters for whatever reason. Hit the R1 and it'll get rid of it, so you'll start a new line there, or be able to continue. So nor underscore HDD dot HTML. Alright, so HTTPC PS3exploit.com /writer/index underscore nor underscore HDD dot HTML. If you have a NAND type memory, this says NAND underscore 8. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start. Oh, my bad. HTML. Might help if I type it correctly, right? Alright, start. Now we're going to navigate, and you should see this. Congratulations, we've detected your PlayStation 3 is running firmware 4.82, which is compatible with PS3 exploit. Enjoy. Okay, this is the page that will load up. Get rid of that. Now, see, before you have to run it from a USB flash drive, but this is the hard drive edition, which is extremely handy and far more successful. You're going to move your little arrow key to there, and you hit triangle. You're going to navigate down to, where does it go? File. You're going to hit right and go down to Save Target, hit X. It's going to say System Storage or USB device. We want to go to System Storage. And it's going to download a modified JPEG file. Download complete. Let's go ahead and hit back. Now that we're done with that, we're going to have to initialize the export. Hit X. It'll run the exploit, initialize, will start to initialize. Oop. There you go. Just trying to initialize the exploit. Alright, see, there we go. Exploit initialization success. So the next thing we do, we have to select patch NOR flash memory. If you have a NAND system, that'll say patch NAND flash memory. Hit X. Now it's proceeding to patch the NOR flash memory. And this process, like it says, could take a few minutes. Your results may vary depending on the size of your hard drive or internet connection. I don't know what factors actually contribute to what causes it to go faster or slower, but just be patient. Alright, NOR flash memory patch operation completed. Alright, now in earlier versions of this, it would automatically restart your console. But now there is additional tools from PS3 exploit. If you look under the patch stuff, PS3 exploit 2.0, there's additional software that you could like copy your NOR or NAND and then patch it, and it will, and you can copy that file that it patches, and you can compare it to make sure that it was patched successfully. I haven't had any issues. You may want to do that if that makes you feel more comfortable, but choice is yours. So now we can go ahead and exit this. Oops. We can exit the browser, and we have to restart our system. I'm going to power it off. Alright, it's powered off. Now we're powering our system back on. This is not the custom firmware. This is just the exploit that's used so that you're able to install custom firmware. So we're not quite there yet. As you see, this, let's say PS3 right here. But now, with the files I've downloaded, they're on my flash drive. The Rebug firmware, which that file will have to be renamed to ps3updat.pup. Keep forgetting to turn on the controller. I'm going to System Update, Update via Storage Media, and there it is, 4.82.1 Rebug. We're hit OK. Blah blah blah. Yes, we accept. Oh, start. Now we're going to go through the installation process again. Alright, now the system is going to restart. It's going to go through the firmware installation process, just like you normally have seen 100 times updating your PlayStation 3. There we are. Just checking for the update data that it installed onto the system. There we go. Now we're starting the installation. Alright, once it's gone to 100%, we should restart and we should be greeted with our new favorite logo. Alright, there we go. Rebug. We are now officially back on custom firmware. Now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and install a couple packages with our package manager. Install package files. I'm going to choose package directory. And here's the Rebug toolkit. We're going to go ahead and install that. That's done. We're going to... Oh, my bad. That's the PS2 ISO launcher. Well, this is a little tease for a future video. Okay, there's the Rebug Toolbox. Go install that. There's that. And I'm going to go install a couple more here right quick. Here's MultiMan, which you should remember from a previous video. Alright, and last but certainly not least, also another teaser for a future video, reActPSN. We'll be doing a video on that. That's done. So there we go. Our packages are installed. We have MultiMan reinstalled. Custom firmware is back. Rebug Toolbox. And that's just for a no looky. Future video. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Be sure to check the description to see links to all these downloads that I have available. These are my links directly from my Google Drive. Reason for that is I didn't want any compatibility issues with new versions, old versions. I want everything that you see in this video tutorial to be all the same version that you see in this video. So all the files that I used are going to be linked in the description below. So comment, let me know what you're looking forward to seeing in a future PS3 video or Wii U video or PSP video. Let me know in the comment section below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hope this has helped you out. And it's definitely an improvement over my last custom firmware video, which I once again apologize for. Namaste. So, thanks again, guys. Peace.